Welcome to The Curiosity Solution. I'm your host, Beverly Beal. Join us as we explore the science of curiosity, share stories of people who've used curiosity to improve their lives, and maybe inspire some aha moments along the way. Welcome to The Curiosity Solution. I'm your host, Beverly Beal, and today we have another special treat. I just love capitalizing on all of the fabulous people that I've met throughout my life and those that are, newer people in my world. But Trish and I, we have had, I'm trying to think how many years now. It's been at least
2014.
Yeah, I was just saying
Was
it's been
when
at
we
least a
met. It was quite a
decade.
while ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
When we were both at a fair together.
yeah, that's right. It was a fair. It wasn't
Yeah, it was
the
Kelly's
speakers.
fair. Huh?
Which one?
It was Kelly's fair in Richardson.
Oh my, yes. I
That was,
actually was putting us at a different location, but see, I
yeah,
love that.
way a long time ago. And you're like, what's with these fingerprint things? And you're like, you have got to come talk at my thing. So
That's yes,
yeah.
yes.
So it might
So
have even been 2013 that we met. And then by the time we had you book me, it was like a little bit later because it was Valentine's Day 2014 that I spoke at your other event.
right. Well, Trish has an interesting business. Again, you talk about bringing curiosity into your world. Um, she has developed a system where she can help you decode your destiny based upon your birth date and your fingerprints. And so there's a lot of weaving of things, and so we'll get into that here in a little bit. But I really want to just say thank you
Most
to
welcome. Thank
Trish,
you.
because she's one of these humans that is always has many different elements going all at the same time. And so I appreciate you carving out a moment in time for me and for my listeners. So Trish, let's talk a little bit more about what it means to be a destiny detective.
The Destiny Detective, it was just like it. How did that even come about? I was not comfortable with the word psychic at that point or even intuitive. So, because I was like, people kept saying, oh, you're a psychic or you're intuitive. And I was like, no, I've just read a lot of books. I know a lot of things because I set out to disprove this. After my first psychic reading, I was like, how the heck does this woman know all this about me? This was back in the 1990s. So, the internet wasn't around. She couldn't Google me, just do a search to see who I was, but she knew a lot about me and she foretold a lot of things. So I went off like a little detective trying to disprove her. And I was studying astrology, numerology, something called the Cards of Destiny, which is a calendar based system. It's not tarot, fingerprints and hand analysis, and a bunch of other things that all tell a similar story. And I was just extremely curious. I was like, what the heck? And whenever you have that curious where you lose sense of time and it's just a passion and you have to get into it, that's your life calling you. Your soul is saying, time to come, we're going to play. So that's really what I think curiosity is all about.
Oh my gosh. See that you are so spot on. That's exactly how I approach it. So when I
Oh.
feel that internal pull
Mhm.
to like, oh, I need more information. I need this. And it's almost as if I'm dry soil, and that topic or that subject is the
Quenches it.
water.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like,
absolutely.
hydrate me. So, one of the other things too that we had in common for a while was there's a women's networking group called eWomen
Yep,
Networking.
yep.
And, I know that for a while you were doing, you were also involved with that. How did networking in that type of an environment, or in general, how does that fit with what you are doing? And how did that feed your curiosity?
Well, networking is always important because I believe, well, no, let's take a small step back. Our name is who we already are. It's all of our past life information. And then our birth date is the class curriculum and timing of when you're going to have things. people in your life are your teachers. So when you're out networking and you're with people and your family is really stirring you up and getting you angry, that is to show you something good or bad about yourself that you need to learn. So eWomen Network, I was doing behind the scenes things for eWomen Network, where I was doing all their automation for them. For, they have a network of 500,000 people. So all those little emails that you get, I was setting up all the automation. So I'm a very analytical person. I'm Aquarius. And so it was my place to get my feet really wet in a bigger system that I could test the things that I want to do, because I'm automating a lot of my stuff for y'all.
That's so I have an Aquarius moon,
Mm-hmm.
which means that I do enjoy a lot of that, but it also can get really overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
Does technology overwhelm you, or do you go, or does it excite you?
Both, to be honest. And so it, with all the AI stuff out, I am just totally digging all of that. It's just been lifeblood to me to be able to reach more people. But because I'm an empath, I do get easily overwhelmed, and so I find in the morning is the best time for me to attack stuff like that, because it takes, I have to have a really clear head and focus. But since I do astrology and all these other things I'm doing, it's similar type of work, it's just different. So yeah.
Wait, are you saying that you feel like AI is similar work to astrology?
Totally. Yeah. If you look at the definition of Aquarius, it's all innovative future technology stuff. It's also humanity and your community. So, but it's very much AI. So we are now entering the age of Aquarius right now. And so this is going to be a big shift where the little people get to rise up as we leave the age of Pisces and Aries, and it won't be about leadership. People now have access to tools. Just look at Victoria's Secrets, how people were able to have a voice, and they use, the social media platforms to be able to speak and say, yeah, being objectified with all these sexy outfits for men isn't what we're all about. So yeah, AI is definitely all about Aquarius kind of stuff. It's all related, and it's going to give women, it's going to empower women to have tools like they've never had, if they choose to jump into it and just use it, and just start with chat gbt. The woman I'm working with in Slovakia right now, she used a paper calendar. She doesn't do anything online, but I've now turned her in, and she got mad at AI and chat GBT. She's like, that's too much information. Stop. And she was just trying to vent, and it came back and went, okay, good. Here's the bite-sized pieces. And she's like, oh my God, it did what I needed it to do. And
Wow.
so it's just, and I'm teaching her how to use it as a muse to brainstorm and lay out her business plan of what she wants to do, which is a big thing. So, and it gave her a very big list. So you can use AI for a lot and I'm a dyslexic, and so it helps me write in a more fluid way. It gets I like to be a little sassier and crazier, so it puts in a lot of filler words sometimes that it takes it too far. So, but it's definitely brilliant. It's very helpful.
So when you're talking, I was actually thinking more about your, like, the learning, like when you're actually doing the charts.
Oh, mhm.
If it and was that the same, like, energy that you needed in order to approach technology?
Yeah, the way I go about looking at charts is very mathematical. And then technology, AI is very, you have to be logical, and, and put information in slowly. And that's just like what I'm doing with the charts. So I'm doing an astrology chart and a numerology chart. I'm looking for similarities and differences. And then I add another chart, and then I add the fingerprints. And so I'm like, okay, where are we the same? Where are we different? What's the theme across all of the different charts? So it's a very mathematical process, which is different than when you go to what's considered your typical psychic tarot cards and stuff like that, they're up there talking to your angels and spirit guides, and they're, either clairaudient or clairvoyant, sometimes claircognizant, getting downloads. But whereas somebody like me is going to the Akashic records and looking at information and processing it, it's a different process of where we go. And so that's part of why I went with the Destiny Detective, your original question, because I wasn't comfortable with the psychic terms going, no, I'm not like them. The people they can see and hear spirit, I don't do that. So I didn't think that was me, not realizing that being an empath, what I feel, and being a claircognizant, what is downloaded to me, is another way to process intuition and our, information that's coming from the other side. So
What's interesting is when I'm working with clients, even if it's a simple feng shui appointment or the intuitive coaching that I do, I'm glad that I always have to make a recording of our session, because they'll ask me, it's like, what did you say? And I'm like, I have no
That's
idea.
exactly, I can't tell you how many times I've said that.
And came out
Yeah.
like, I'm glad you thought it was wise and it was actionable, but I don't remember.
Right. Exactly. I know exactly that feeling.
So what's interesting is you're talking about, entering the age of Aquarius and AI and a lot of the technology. That actually dovetails quite nicely with Chinese astrology, because there are 20-year cycles that we have, and we are entering into, or we have entered into, starting with this year, a 20-year cycle that aligns with the South sector, which is the number 9, period 9.
Okay.
And the South is all about fame and reputation.
Yeah.
It's about physical beauty. It is all about supporting the middle-aged woman. I believe that would be us.
Totally.
And so it's really bringing it already is supportive of that energy of women taking more center stage and coming more into our power, which, again, it doesn't surprise me that right now we're in a section of life where a lot of women's rights and women's abilities are literally being silenced. I heard just last week that Afghanistan, now the women aren't even allowed to speak to each other at
Oh,
all in public,
wow. Well,
because
yeah, looking at the numerology cycles, we've now entered the 2000 millennium here, and we've left the one energy, the masculine energy, and so I believe, well, okay, the one stands straight up and down, it's masculine. The two looks like a woman's down on her knees bowing, and it's a feminine, more giving kind of energy. So we've now entered this time period, and I believe that pain is what motivates us to make changes. And so women are being pushed because we have to start to make changes here, and women are going to definitely rise up over these next 1,000 years and become stronger and stronger. It is our time. This is a feminine energy, even though AI is kind of, masculine there. Truly, it empowers us. It gives us so much kind of stuff. So just play with it. I started with images, just having fun creating AI images, and the creation and the joy I felt from that was just amazing. So, and in a global society, we have to learn how to stand out and be different. That's how we're going to succeed. If we try to be normal and fit in and be quiet and meek and mild, you won't make the headway you need to make. So now is our time to be a woman and stand out and be different. Totally. It's perfect timing.
One of the things too with period 9, which again is where curiosity comes in, and where knowing what's going on in your world, which is what I think, one of the reasons why I wanted you to be on this program, is we've been inundated with information. We are constantly inundated with information, and finding the tools to learn to glean the wisdom from this onslaught of stuff, which is setting yourself apart.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Well, okay, not to keep harping on this, but it's important with the tools with ChatGPT, like that video that I sent you with the past life thing. I took 2 past life readings.
Explain to those who haven't seen that what it is that
Okay.
you sent me.
Okay, so basically, there's a past life reading that I work with another woman that does this, and I don't want to name her name at this point. You go and have a past life reading with her. And she sent about an hour is 20 pages worth of transcript, basically. And somebody else, the woman in Slovakia that I met, a client of mine that I sent over there to her, we had 20 pages of transcript reading. We put it into ChatGPT, or I did, and said, okay, describe what each of us look like, because apparently we were in the same institution. And so it made like a little paragraph taking 20 pages for each of us, saying, I was Native American and half white. She was born to a nun and illegitimate, and I was illegitimate. And we were in this institution where they were trying to strip us of our cultures and all the horribleness in us and things like that. So I was able to create pictures of us using our photos that we have now. And so ChatGPT took it down to a paragraph to describe what we look like at that time. And then I plugged it into something else and it made the video of us and stuff. So, you can use something. We have all this information coming at us, and you can plug that into free for ChatGPT and say, skinny this down. And like, I needed a recipe the other day with certain ingredients, and I said, please go create this. And it created 5 different recipes for me to choose from the ingredients in my refrigerator. So then I could do that. It can skinny that information down and make it wisdom and usable information. And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. You go to openai.com and you can sign up.
That is all so fascinating. I do find myself getting a little curious about
Mhm.
how all that information is being used,
Yeah.
because if you're not paying for something, then you're the product.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with you. There is some very heavy bias out there because AI is going and using the data that's already out on all these different systems. And there's very heavy bias against women of color, against women of a certain age. So it defines what you think is pretty and the right weight. And so when I'm trying to do a picture of myself, and I'm, over 200 pounds. So, and I'm definitely over 50. I'm 65. It decides for you, and it's getting better, but that isn't AI's fault. That is the programming of, you're not good enough, go buy this product. And so all that information is all out on the internet and in public places, and AI is drawing on that. That's the big businesses telling you how bad you are and wrong you are, so you will buy their products. That's the problem, I
Yeah.
believe.
And
So,
there was a great book that I wrote, Unmasking AI, and it was
mhm,
written by now I can't remember which country she's from, but she's a darker
mhm,
skinned Black woman
yeah,
scientist who was discovered by accident that the open source code that she was using for some program could not detect her, but she happened to have a Halloween mask, that just like a plain white mask, and it recognized the mask right away.
right,
It
right,
didn't recognize her. And so she realized that, oh my gosh, and again, this is part of that period 9 wisdom,
correct.
expanding upon this energy that, where she started to realize that it was all about the data sets. So it's good that you're putting some of this information out there. But let's
Yeah,
go ahead and move forward a little bit, because um, I really want to these are all the questions that I love talking with my client, the
mhm,
interviewees about. And it's more about, again, the curiosity, because clearly the AI and a lot of these technologies, chat GPT, all of that has really sparked your sense of curiosity.
mhm.
How do you know which of these paths to go down? Do you feel it in your body? Is it something that you hold in your head? Is it just can you describe that, so that
Mhm.
when people are they are faced with maybe similar things, they can say, "Oh, I really want to go do this," or, you know, "I don't want to do this."
Yeah, yeah. That's a very, very good question. So, I'm both, as I said, I'm both an empath and a claircognizant. So, empath, I feel in the heart and in my body. Claircognizant is a very mental thing for me. Even here, uh, growing up, I was chastised for my imagination, saying, "Oh, that's just your imagination. That's not correct," when I would have intuitive hits. So I would approach everything and from a very logical standpoint. So I'm now starting to learn to trust my body more and trust the feelings that my body's telling me, because your body doesn't lie. So, but I do tend to stuff my body and eat too much food. So I try to tone those things down. So by regulation there, which is not a healthy way. So, but it's really learning to find how you're wired. Everybody's wired differently, and find those little cues. Because for me, there's a different from like there's like soft pop when it's a claircognitive hit versus the ego telling me something over and over and over again. Then I know it's ego based and not intuition based. So each person has to learn the clairs, how they operate within you, and just learn to follow those. And you only learn by getting out there and doing it, and going, let me try that, and that feels right, and honoring your curiosity that way. And a lot of people, especially with the odd numbers, with numerology kind of stuff, the threes and the fives, and that, we're meant to try things and go, "Oh, that's not right for me," and then get out and stuff. The even numbers are supposed to try and go until they finish and get to the very end. So that's another thing. You just have to learn what's your cue. So, but the odd numbers at least have to try. They're afraid, "Oh no, I won't do something." And you've got to get in there and at least try it once. So I would suggest that for everybody. Just try. And then
I'm giggling. I'm giggling because I'm a 9, as you
yes.
pointed out,
Hmm.
and my husband would joke that I think you have career ADHD, because I would try something for a
Right.
while, and I would be doing something for like for a certain period of time. It's like, okay, well, I think instead of being in sales, I'm going to go work at a, work at a plant nursery,
Right.
a specialty
Right.
plant nursery. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to go work for a
Yep.
chiropractor.
Yep. And you're
And
supposed to
I know he thought all this feng shui and energy stuff was going to be another one of those little
things.
fly
Yep.
by night things, but it stuck for over 20 years for me. So,
Yeah. Yeah. With
um,
curiosity, you just have to at least get in there and give it the good college try or whatever. That's kind of not politically correct, really, because I really don't believe you have to go get a college degree anymore unless it's a specific degree. You need to at least get in there and get your hands dirty and get it, play with the finger paint and really mess things up and go, "Okay, this doesn't feel right." And as long as it keeps feeling like, okay, you'll know, because you just lose track of time and you keep playing and stuff.
mhm.
And that's your biggest clue that you're on the right track, is when you lose track of time and you just keep going and you want to do it, and all of a sudden you're looking up going, "Wow, how did a whole, hour pass or more?" So,
So you mentioned that the body doesn't lie.
mhm.
I I agree with you 90% of the time.
Okay.
How do you see, and I mean, I don't know, maybe this is kind of off the wall here, but there have been times, especially with people who have phobias,
Okay.
that or almost an irrational fear, whether it's
Mhm.
of the weather or of certain people. Is that in your experience? Can you see any of those kind of situations and those kind of, not only that the body is lying, but that the body has been programmed and the sensitivity level is way too high?
True. This is exactly what we're gonna talk about in the workshop, the soul plan workshop there. With your name, your letters in your name tell you what those fears are, and sometimes you can see the phobias of how you died in a past life kind of thing and stuff, and so those are natural fears. And like what I was talking about, the video, that I showed you of the past life with the woman in Slovakia, there was a picture that was done with our hair cut off, and that triggered me. It was hard for me to look at that picture
Wow.
because they took away our culture and took away our feminineness, our identity by cutting our hair, our identity of who we are. And so the letters in your name will pop that up and you can see those. And Ainsley McLeod, who was on Oprah and wrote the book The Transformation and the Old Soul Workbook and some other books there, I was able to map all of his fears that he had listed. There's 10 of them. So that mapped exactly to the numerology numbers 1 through 9 plus 0. And so I taught, and and he goes into exhaustive detail about those past life fears and
Mm.
where you were. So it's fear of identity, not having the trust with other people, being judged, and fear of authority figures, all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
So you mentioned a workshop.
Hmm.
Can you share a little bit more about that for the listeners?
Yeah, this has become the core of my work. I'm so excited about it. It's your soul plan on planet Earth here, because you could be going to another galaxy too. I do believe in that. So this is as it is on planet Earth. And it started just with looking at your name and identifying all those fears to say, what is it that I'm afraid of? And you knew me at some of my worst kind of stuff, and in past we can be kind of people pleasers and reactive and running around trying to take care of everybody else, but then we go into overwhelm and we have a full out meltdown. By identifying these fears, I was able to go, okay, this is what I need to do to change that. This is what I'm here to do. And this is very specific. It calmed it down so I could say, when I'm having these physical reactions and reacting in a certain way, I could go, okay, I can now backtrack and mentally go through and go, okay, this is the thing I need to learn now. Not liking this and not liking that something is not bad. That's good information to say, how do I need to process that for me, not my mama who says has the shoulds and shouldn'ts and all these her beliefs of what's good and bad, but what's right for me. And we all have to find our personal right, and it's not anybody else's. And so it's learning. I like looking at the wisdom, but also paying attention to my intuition hits to say, okay, how's that feel? And again, following your curiosity or going, yeah. And some of those, what I like about your name and your birthday, it's just pure math. And so it's a hard yes or no. It's just like it's black and white versus your body. You have to kind of feel around and figure it out. But it gives me a compass, if you will, to start listening to my body and mapping out the two pieces together, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. What I appreciate about what you just said there is I think there are many different ways, many different systems out there to help people understand their core
Mhm,
identity.
mhm.
There's human design, there's Myers-Briggs. I mean, there's
Yeah,
all kinds of different things. Many of them are more subjective and require interpretation, but when you're using numerology, it is, well, I mean, it is what it
yeah,
is. There's really not a lot of arguing around that. And then the fact that you're combining that with some of these more interpretive systems, I think helps give people an idea of not only their intrinsic level of what's going on in them, but the areas to grow into.
totally, totally. And I think all the systems are this is generalization. All the systems are correct. It's just like different languages. Sometimes if you go to the Latin languages, there's more words for the word love than there are other languages and stuff. So, but they're all communicating what love is. And sometimes we like one author over another author. It's just finding what resonates with you, what
Mhm.
makes you curious and want to delve a little deeper. So, but I've studied Myers-Briggs and human design. I've studied them all. So that's been why I'm the Destiny Detective. And, I've cobbled together, depending upon the questions that somebody asked, which system to go to. And
Yeah.
so, and it's just, you've got to follow your own little thing to say, okay, that's curious, and let's dig some more.
The thing that I also appreciate about your approach is, and well, quite frankly, any of these approaches, because
Mhm.
I think everybody discovers what they are able to absorb
Mhm.
at the time that they are able to absorb it.
Yes.
You
It
know, because I think about my own feng shui journey, and I was not able to absorb classical feng shui at the time when I first began studying in 2004. And so I
Mhm.
started a simpler to understand, more cookie cutter approach, the
Mhm.
westernized version of feng shui. But as I matured through my spiritual growth, more became available to me, and I began to also understand all the weavings that
Mhm.
happen, just like what you were talking about. But let's kind of go a little bit more, just so that people, the same kind of questioning that again I ask of all of my guests is, everybody has challenges in their world. And I know, you mentioned that, I've seen you through quite a few different ones, as, vice versa. You've seen me through a number of challenges as well. If you care to share,
Mhm.
is there a current challenge that you've been experiencing, and how are you approaching the solution to this?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. You've got a lot of layers in that. Where when you started timing wise, you weren't ready for the depth that you were, and so your birth date sets up the timing of when you're growing and what you're growing in. And so for me right now, this has been a year of really looking at the external timing that's going on in my life and figuring out what I need to do internally to grow. And so when I first started back in 1992 with that first psychic reading, it was like a drug. I was going to every psychic I could possibly find to go, what the heck? How's this work? So I was looking externally for answers. And so, with one my challenge being, feeling inferior, the number one challenge, one of the main ones, is feeling inferior from that past life of being Native American and half white and not feeling good enough. We look to other people to make decisions for ourselves. And I'm learning to go within and go, what do I want? It's okay to want what I want and go after it and stuff. And that's part of the women's side, we need to empower ourselves that we can take control of our own destiny. So, and I'm moving into a 6th year. This has been a year of travel and lots of people, and I'm mostly introverted, so I isolated myself a lot from people, but I've had a full year of people, so, and dealing with their energies and communicating back and forth, what is my responsibility for me versus their responsibility? So it's a very internal process for me now, is the growth opportunity versus challenge. It is a challenge too. So, but it's an opportunity for me to grow. So, taking the information from my timing system and looking at it from a different standpoint and going, what can I do about this specifically? So,
That is the name of the game for anybody, is
yeah, it is.
digging for the gold, no matter what kind of pile is presented.
And the gold
There's
is
always
always within.
yeah, there's always that story about, I love that one about, a little girl who, really wanted a pony for
Mhm.
her birthday,
Yeah.
and, instead just found a
Yep.
big pile of poop.
Yep.
And she was so excited. It's like, "Oh, this is great. There's this big pile of poop. That means there's a pony around here somewhere." So, it's that,
Yep.
being willing to sit in the adversity, to sit
Mhm.
in that space of not knowing,
Yeah.
and still looking within to honor the pause, because again, like, sometimes, like you and I have spoken before, and sometimes it's that waiting for that next step that's,
Yeah. It's
oh,
hard.
it's very hard,
Yeah.
and you've made the comment that you've been moving around a fair amount
Mhm.
the past couple of years, and that is always a challenge, but it's
Yes.
always
Mhm.
exciting because it's
Mhm.
a whole new space, a whole new
Mhm.
place, all new people, and
Yeah.
when that happens, it also can be a very introspective time. So I think it's really great that you're
Yeah.
paying
I've grown
attention.
more now in the past 2 years than I have probably my whole life, so it's been
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Now, um, again, from those, but you're talking about growth.
Mhm.
I like to talk about our phoenix moments.
Mhm.
Where we are, at our lowest point or a very low point, and
Right.
we manage to rise from
Right.
that. It's through that literal coming forward from the ashes.
Right.
Um, what would you call your phoenix moment, and how did curiosity play into that?
Well, it's been a decade-long unraveling of my Phoenix moment, I would say. Um, I was told by the psychics that I was seeing over and over again, "Oh, you're a psychic. You're gonna be doing readings too." And I was like, "Oh, hell no. I'm not doing this. Y'all are living on cat food and, no." And it just, I couldn't see, I was a Fortune 100 executive for Siemens, and I was used to doing super well, and I was just like, I couldn't figure out how I was gonna make the transition, plus the religious kinda thing from my family of the shaming that you shouldn't be doing this is wrong. So, it was about 2011 that I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go start this," but I was still scared. I mean, truly very scared to do that. And I feel like in just the past few years have I really said, "No, I can feel it in my body, and I am this," not like this external thing of where I'm going. It's just a different place. Um, and it's just constant work of looking at it. And so now I've realized I've got a bigger place of where I'm going, where first I just wanted to learn to live my own life versus being that empath need, being in servitude, running around taking care of everybody else and constantly. Now I'm finding my place in the world as a leader and saying, no, this is where we need to go. So it's kind of a two-step, and I feel like I'm moving now into that second role more strongly. So it's a different archetype, the explorer versus the maverick, and there's more of a rebellious thing, which is really very Aquarian. So I'm owning that side of myself a lot more now. So, and I'm very excited about it too. So,
I'm thrilled. I am so excited too. So, Trish, what how how can people get on your newsletter list? Because
yeah.
you've been sending out this amazing daily newsletter for, was it 2 years now? A
Well,
year and
2
a half?
years, yeah, it
Yeah.
started January 1st, yeah, it's coming up on 2 years, yeah, so, yeah, I'm very excited. So, if you go to destinydetective.com, you can see the name down there, and just do destinydetective.com, no dashes or anything, and you put in your birthday, it will send you a forecast for this year and sometime here in November, I'm gonna put in for 2025, and you'll get that, um, and that will put you on the list there. And the daily, I give like a little quote that's usually centered around the daily energy, which is the cards of destiny that gives you a little mini forecast for the day. So it's always about finding the gold within. It's self-reflective. It's mostly empath oriented. So of just being a stronger person overall. So and they're usually pretty short emails every day, so you can whiz in and out. But then every now and then, like right now, I'm doing a lot of programs for the different workshops. So they're longer educational emails that I'm starting to put out in my blog on Destiny Detective. When you go to Destiny Detective, you can click on the blog there too. So, and get some
So they
other
could actually go to your website and read some of the past
correct.
blog posts. Okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
longer ones, and it's all teaching you very specific stuff, very basic things of how to add things up, and so you can become like a little you don't it's how to use numerology rather than become a numerologist, because I know most people don't wanna mess with that. They just wanna know, "Well, how does this work for me?" So
And like not everybody is a seminar junkie like us.
yes.
Um, and it does get to a point where you get so much information that you don't know what to do with it.
Correct. Yes. Yes,
And
and so
yeah. Yeah.
A again, I'll put in my plug for ChatGPT. It can you can dump a whole bunch of stuff and said, "Skinny this down and summarize it for me."
So this seminar that you have coming up, the what is it called again?
Well,
This
I have
workshop?
2 going right now, so there's usually something. One's called the Soul Plan Workshop, and by the time people listen to it, it'll probably already be over. But go to the website and get on my list, and then you'll be able to see it. And the other one's going to be Soulmates or Cellmates. I might offer that one around Valentine's Day again too, since that's a relationship kind of thing. And I'm going to have a dream job coming up. I'm also going to have a timing workshop coming up real soon. So to find out how to have your best year ever in 2025. So, um, lots of weird energies out there in the cycles in the universe right now. Lots of shifting going on. So how to individually take advantage of the energies for you.
Yeah.
That will be an upcoming one too. So, and it'll start if you just put your birth date in there and get your little mini forecast, then you'll be on that list.
That actually all sounds very similar to what I'm seeing coming up according to Chinese astrology. Next year is the year of the yin wood snake.
Yeah.
Yin wood is like a climbing vine, so you need a lot of support. We're all going
Right.
to need people around us
Right.
that we can trust. But snake energy, it's really about grounded change.
Interesting. Okay.
Snakes again, there's a period of intense discomfort before they can split off that old skin
Right. And
as
then
they
come January, we're shifting to a Pisces Virgo eclipse season. And so what people are going to get more spiritual. And then the Virgo side of the house is how to be grounded too. So those are the polar opposites of going back and forth. Yeah, things are going to change, but I think we need the change. It's good.
Yeah, it'll for me, the way that I look at it, especially initially, as people are growing and getting really uncomfortable,
Mhm.
there may be some dogmatic type friction.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those who are extremely dogmatic about this is the only way,
Yeah.
they're not going to have a great time.
No, because well, we're leaving Capricorn, which is dogmatic and traditional side, and moving it into, Aquarius, and that is like a free for all. That's rebellion and different things. So, yeah, it's going to be some big changes. So, but you know, we when we're all comfy in our little comfy pajamas, eating popcorn and whatever in front of the TV, watching Netflix stuff, we're comfortable. Only when we're in pain are we like, "Ugh, I got to get out of pain and do something." That's when change happens. It's the fuel that gets us to make the movements and the change that we need to make. So it's
Right.
all part of the process.
And like I went to the gym this morning and there was definitely not necessarily pain, but certainly discomfort.
Yeah,
But that discomfort is what gets you to the place that you want to be in.
correct.
It's just
Yep.
that snake energy. It's that I gotta get out
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
it'll be very interesting. I'm glad that Trish, that we have you as a resource so that people can learn more about themselves, whether it is paying money for one of your wonderful workshops. I'm so excited because
No,
I am
thank you.
taking it.
I know.
This will be
I'm
great.
excited this is such perfect timing for you. I'm so
Ah,
excited. So it's
yeah,
gonna be good.
yeah. And
Yeah.
even though I do a lot of the same, a similar stuff for my, on my side of
Right.
coaching, I find such value in getting that information from a different perspective, because it's
Right.
always this, again, you talk coming back to stories,
Right.
about the blind mice that were
Yeah.
surrounding an elephant.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and if you aren't willing to look at other perspectives, you'll think that an elephant is simply like a big fat tree trunk, because
Yep.
those are the ones with the legs, or a floppy wispy thing because they're either at the ear or the tail.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so
Yep.
and let's not even go with the trunk. That's just that elephants' trunks are so fascinating.
Right, right. Well, that's
But
your Gemini North Node talking, because 'cause you're just always curious and have to know everything about everything. So,
all right, man. Well, hey, thank you so much. Um, so I will have all of your information in the show notes, and people can click on those links. Like, I can really speak right now because I'm so excited. I'm looking forward so much to this workshop. Um, the next steps for people who are interested, again, is to go to destinydetective.com and just see what resonates with you there, because there is literally something for everyone on your website, Trish. I'm
well,
so
thank you.
excited that you came to join me and to share your information with all of the listeners and the viewers. Um, and well, we'll just go ahead and wrap things up now. And welcome back welcome. You are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me, Beverly. It's always
It
fun with you.
it is. We have a good time. Bye
Yep.
bye.
Bye-bye.